Hey, I hope you're having an incredible day. Today we're going to be building out this super powerful lead generation machine. I haven't seen anyone else do this right now. It's a three-step process that we're going to be building out. The first step is scraping Google Maps to get a list of leads, and this will have everything from their location, their address, their website, their phone number, the rating review count, as well as the Maps URL. If you were to be cold calling them, you could just click verify. So you can see that just populated right here, and we know who the carrier is with and that this specific phone number is a landline. And the idea there being, if it is a mobile phone, chances are it is the owner's phone number. They are a smaller business, and that is someone that you can call and speak to the decision maker directly. Then after that, there's this button called Get Socials. So you'd click Get Socials, and what it's going to do is go ahead and scrape their website and return their email, their LinkedIn, their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Pretty much any and all of their socials are going to be populated in here, and that is going to be done completely for you. So all you have to do is click this button, which is step number 2, getting all of their socials. And then once you have that lead list with all of their socials, the last step is to trigger the personalized email writer so that you can send powerful email campaigns that are personalized, all with clicking just a few buttons. And you can see that right here when I go ahead and click create personalized emails. So you can see it right here. Hi there, I'm deeply impressed by Wood Street's Veterinary Hospital's remarkable legacy since 1900 and your strong connections with the RSPCA. Your dedication to providing continuous high quality care along with being a registered training practice for veterinary nurses speaks volumes about your commitment to animal welfare. We'd love to introduce our AI voice agent services that can handle calls, schedule appointments, and answer FAQs. It's risk-free. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. What are your thoughts? So it does research on their company. It complements them based on their website. Then there's a pitch, and then finally a call to action. I will be giving out this blueprint completely for free. So if you're looking to write personalized emails and you already have a nice long lead list, then all you have to do is click the link in the description to be able to download this personalized email writer, which will come with the GPT prompt that I'm using to write these personalized emails. And if you are looking to get access to all 4 blueprints as well as many more, I have them all in my community. And with that being said, let's hop right into how we can build this out today, as there's a lot that needs to be covered, as this is a pretty complex build. Alright guys, so you're going to be creating a new Airtable database. That Airtable is going to be called lead generation. So go ahead and rename this lead generation. And then you're going to create one tab called Google. Within that, you're going to be creating 2 new sections. The first one's going to be called Scraper. The second one's going to be called Results. Now you can go ahead and rename this view to Research, and we're going to create a bunch of different fields. So you can see there's quite a lot of fields. We've got 22 different fields in total. And so a bunch of different fields that we got to create. So we'll start by creating all those. So the first one up is just ID. So you're going to go ahead, edit that field ID, change that to auto number. Then next up, we're going to be creating the search term. So that is what we're going to be searching to scrape Google Maps. So enter in search term, that's a single line text. And then next we're going to need the location. So for this, I just put in the city country, which is the format that you need in order to send that. So for that, you would just put in location. I put single line text. And then how many is going to be a number. And I just set the decimal places to 0. And this is where you'll enter in how many leads that you want to scrape. And then finally, just a checkbox that has ready to go. Now we're also going to be adding a lot more fields. You can see that they're all hidden here right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and unhide all of them so you can see what they are. We can get them all added now. So most of these will be used on the results page, which is why they're hidden on the research page. And if you wanted to create your results page now, you could go ahead and create a new grid, and we can just rename it results and put it under the results section. Now we're going to add a company name. So this is a single line text, right? Just click here and we'll choose single line text from the drop down. Next up, we need address. This is going to be a long text. We got the website, which is going to be a URL. And then we have the phone number, which is going to be a phone number. Then we have the rating, which is going to be a number, 1 decimal place. And then we have the review count. So go ahead, create that field review count. We're going to call this number as well, 0 decimal places. And then the maps URL, which is going to be a URL link as well. We have the landline or cell. So this is going to be a single line text. We got the carrier, which is also going to be a single line text. and then we have a checkbox called verify, which will verify what the carrier is and if it's a landline or cell number that is there. Then we have the email. That's going to be just a simple email field. We have Instagram, which is going to be a URL, and then we can copy that a couple of times and just rename them: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. This is what will return when we click the Get Socials button, right? We have the personalized email field, which is going to be a long text. And then we have the About page, which is going to be a long text. And the State, which is going to be a single line text. And then we have two more buttons, checkboxes. One is Get Socials, and the other one is Create the Personalized Emails. So go ahead, add in all of those fields into the Research tab, and then we are going to hide all of them like we did at the beginning. And as we build this out, you'll see how they all come into play. And then we are going to be filtering by the company where company name is empty. So pretty much when a result is returned back, if it has a company name, right, we don't want to show it on our research. We want to show it in the results. And so that's why we're filtering it out here. And then we're going to be grouping by the search term that we're using, so that as we have multiple searches, they'll be categorized by the search term. All right, awesome. So that portion is done. And now if we go into our results table, right, we're going to be filtering where ready to go is blank. So set that as your filter. We're going to be grouping it by the state, so we can see all our results like this grouped by the state. And we're going to be sorting by ID from smallest to largest. And then we're going to be hiding all of the initial things such as search term, location, how many ready to go, right, from our results. So those will be featured in the research page, but we don't need them here under results. And that is pretty much your two tables that are set up within Airtable. So super simple, right? Then we can start getting into the automations. So the first one that we're going to need is research. So go ahead, create an automation. We're going to call this one research. And then the trigger that we're going to set is when a record matches conditions. We'll choose our table being Google, and it's going to be when ready to go is checked. All right, and then we're going to come here, we're going to add a action, and that's going to be run a script. And so for that, we will create a custom variable. It's going to be called record ID. We'll choose the Airtable record ID, and then we're going to paste in this code, right? Let params equal input config, await fetch. So we'll be fetching that webhook or triggering that webhook and passing the action equal to Google. So now we can come into our first scenario, which is the Google Maps lead scrape initiator. So this is going to watch for responses. And so we'll create that first, right? Go ahead and create that Airtable watch responses. We're going to copy this address to clipboard, and we can come in here and we're going to paste that into our webhook. So that's what's going to be firing. And then if you really wanted to test it, you could run this once if you want to get some data populated down in there, right? So what I would recommend is add in the watch responses and then add in the second Airtable module, which is going to get that record. So, and that's what's going to be passed to our actor, which is going to do the scraping for us. So lead generation, Google, and then the record ID is going to be the record ID from the previous step. So if you're just starting off and this is blank, there is no record ID, then what you would do is unlink this, right? So you just have your watch responses. You'll run this once, so it's waiting for responses. And then you can come in here into your data, into research. You can check the ready to go box and then come back in here. You can choose your record, right? So I already have one record chosen. And then if you come on here, you can go test action, and then you can see that it was successful. And if we come back into our initial lead scrape initiator, you'll see that the record ID and the action were passed successfully. Now we can connect that to Airtable getting a record, and we can pass that record ID. So it's going to go ahead and grab that information. Now, once again, we'll run that once. We'll hop back into our Airtable and we'll test that action once again. You can see it was successful again. And now we have the information of that search. So we have the search term, we have how many we want it to scrape, we have the location, and then we have the record ID right here. And so now we can go into appify.com. We'll go to our console. If you don't know what Appify is, it essentially gives you access to all of these pre-built actors, and they just allow you to web scrape and create different automation projects across pretty much anything, right? So there's Instagram scraping, there's Google Maps, you can just scrape the web. And so we need a few different actors for this. The first one is going to be the Google Maps scraper, right? So you just come into the store and you have $5 of free credits, so it's pretty good. This will allow for a lot of free usage, and we'll just search in Google Maps. I'm going to click on this second one, crawler Google Maps. So we'll click on that, and then this is where you will build your JSON request format. So you could enter in your search terms, the location, so the number of places per search term, what details you want to scrape, right? If you want to do a deeper city scrape, which is what I recommend, you turn that on. So you configure your settings here. I've already gone ahead and configured my settings, so you can see them right here, right? And then what you're going to do is click on the JSON once you've configured those settings, and you'll be able to copy this and paste it into your input JSON right here. And then you're going to choose your actor. So once you've selected your actor here, right, what you could do is hit save or save and start, and then it will be recognized by your Applify. And then to add your connection, you would just simply come in here under settings, API and integration, you'll have your personal access token. So you just hit add, you add your personal access token, and then the connection will be created. Now I have run synchronously set to off because I like to scrape a lot of results from Google, right? And then what we're going to do is in the location query, we're going to input the get a record from Airtable. For the max crawled places per search, how many becomes, we'll replace that with how many. So we get the max crawled places per search. And then what we're searching, right? The search strings array becomes the search term. And that's pretty much it. We can save that. And now if we were to run this once, it would trigger this automation properly. And that's pretty much it for Google Maps lead scrape initiator. So this is what will send the initial Google Maps lead scrape results. Then the next thing that we need to do is return those results. So we're going to set up another scenario, right? So create a second scenario, and this is going to watch for active runs. Now the webhook, you're going to create a new webhook, and essentially what's happening is once this is finished running, it's going to notify this actor, because this actor is going to be watching for when this is complete. And when this is complete, it will trigger this automation, which is going to get that data set of items and then create records in Airtable, which will get populated into our results. So this is the address that we're using, right? We're going to be watching for the actor runs. You would just hit add, then make sure you choose the correct actor. So it'd be crawler Google Spaces, and you just hit OK, and then that'll be created. Then next we want to grab that data set of items. So once again, connect to API-Fi. Now you get your data set ID. So that's going to be the default data set ID down here at the bottom. Super important because there is another data set ID right here, but that isn't the correct one. So make sure you grab the default data set ID. Then you can specify the limit for the maximum number of items returned. I have mine set to 10,000. And then we'll set the sleep to a 1 second delay so that as every record comes through, it has a second to be uploaded into our Airtable. And then lastly, we're going to be creating a Airtable record. So choose your base. So ours is called lead generation. The table was Google. And then we're going to update all of this information that was passed through that data set, right? So in order to do that, what you would do is just unlink this, and we can run this once, and we'll run this once, and then we can come into our lead generation, right, into our research. We'll add a record, and this record, let's say we wanted to search electrician in Milton, Ontario. We could specify the amount. So for now, I would say just put a small number. You could even put 1, just so we get some data populated through there, because obviously if we're scraping 1,000 leads, it's going to take a longer time to process all of those. And then we'll hit check mark, ready to go, and just make sure you had flipped on your research one, and now that should have triggered properly. And you can see right here that it was successful. So it ran this actor, and now once this actor is finished running, we should see this get populated in here. And if you want to track the status, you can always come into your actors. You can see the status running right here. You can see the time elapsed, and if you click on it and you go on runs, you can see how many pages it's crawled, the amount of results that it's gotten, how much it's costing you, and yeah, if you click into run, you can see the data that it's pulling currently. And so when this gets to 10 results, like it did right now, you'll see that this actor is going to finish running and we'll grab that data set of items. There you go. Now it's grabbed all of them. And so lastly, it's to update our Airtable record. So now we can put in the required fields. So the company name is just the title. The address is the address. The website is the website. Now I put in the phone number unformatted because this is what, let's say you were doing a cold calling campaign or anything of that sort. It's always better to put in the phone that's unformatted. Then we need the rating, which is going to be the total score right here. We have the review count, which is the review count right here, reviews count. And then we got the maps URL, which is going to be the search page URL. All right, and you can leave the rest. Oh, and then lastly, state. I threw in this extra field called state, and that is just the state or the province, right? And then we'll go ahead, we'll hit OK. And if you wanted, you could trigger it again, and then you would end up with your first batch of results in results, looking something like this. But now the issue is, so what we're going to do is we'll trigger this once again. So I'll come back into here, and all you have to do is uncheck mark this, check it back. Now it's going to do the search on veterinarians in London, UK. All right, so you can see here it's starting the crawler, and in a second in results for state, we should see a new one pop up here with London, UK, and it should return 10 results. So there you go, you can see it just finished. And you can see my results being populated right here, 1319, 1320. So I guess it didn't catch the state for this specific request, but we still have the records that are populated in here. And so what I like to do in that case is, because they're all sorted by ID, right, from smallest to largest, you know that the last entries are all going to be them. So you can see here 10 results. And then if you want, you could just input London as the state and then just copy that down to each of the records. There we go. All right. So now we have our records, right? Our vet results. And next thing that we would want to do is be able to get their socials. You could also verify if it is a landline or cell and the carrier number. So I have this video right here, boost your SMS campaign delivery rates with Twilio lookup API. So if you watch that, you can see how you can embed that into your sheet so that when you click verify, within a few seconds, you have the carrier and the landline or cell, which should populate in a second. There you go. So this is just connected to Twilio lookup API. But what we're going to be building out now is the get socials portion. So we've already covered the first two, right? So step one has officially completed. We got the lead list, but now we don't have any emails. So now we're going to get the socials. So we're going to create a new scenario. The scenario is going to be called lead generation get socials, where we're going to have another Airtable watch responses. So start by creating that. We'll copy that address to clipboard. Then we'll head into our Airtable, into the automations, and we're going to create a new scenario called get socials. So same thing. When a record matches conditions, where Google is the table, and when get socials is checked, right? So that checkbox, we're going to run a script. That script is going to be pretty much the same thing. So we're going to paste in that new webhook that we just created, and then the action is going to be get socials, and we're same thing, put in the record ID and the value for that. So awesome. So we got the socials. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a record. So that record is going to be lead generation, Google, and then the record ID. So same setup that we had in the previous step, right? We can test that trigger just by turning it on. So you would hit get socials, then come in here and you would choose that record, and then you would just click test action, and you will get some data populated in here and in here. Awesome. So now we're going to connect that to Appify once again. So this time we're going to be using a different actor. So this is going to be the contact details scraper actor. And you can see for 1,000 results, it costs $3 US. So it's pretty damn cheap. Same thing, you have the start URL, you have the maximum pages per start URL, and then you have the scraping options. So for the maximum pages per start URL, this is really like, if you hover over the question mark, it'll explain what it is, but the maximum pages per start URL is like how many links it's going to go to, or the max number of pages that's going to go to from that start URL. So let's say this was your start URL, thedinerbar.com. It would go 10 pages past, up to 10 pages past. Now you have the maximum link depth, which is the maximum number of links away from the start URL that the actor will crawl. So we have it going up to 2 because sometimes the email might not be on the initial homepage. So it'll go up to 2 links deeper. And then we have the maximum pages for the whole scrape being 20. So we don't ever want it to go past 20. Otherwise, this could just run on infinite loop. And then we are having it stay within the same domain. So once again, once that's completed, you can go and grab the JSON right here, the JSON request form, and you can just hit save. And when you hit save, now when you come back into your lead generation for running an actor, you should be able to find that contact info scraper as the actor. So choose that. We're going to set run synchronously to yes. And it's key that we do that because we're going to be fetching that same data set right after. And then we'll paste in that input JSON that we just created. And the URL is going to be the website from that result. So find your website. Mine is right here. Paste that in. And now it becomes dynamic, right? Now we're going to add the next thing, which is going to be the data set of items. We'll be passing the default data set ID like the previous step. And once again, if you do need to populate some data in there first in order to pass that default data set ID, then just unlink this step, run this once, head into your lead gen table, test this action, and then we should get some data populated through here when this is triggered. So now that we have that and we have gotten our data set of items, it's just to pass it back to Airtable. So we're going to connect the record ID to the record ID from the first step right here. And then we're going to be updating, everything that it's going to pull back. So if you look at our data set of items, you're going to have emails, you're going to have a LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn's, you're going to have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and I left out Pinterest and Discord, but you get the idea, just like that. And we should hit OK. And now you can turn this on, you can run it once. And if we head back into here and we turn on our get socials automation, we should just be able to hit a check mark next to this. And it's going to run that actor and it's going to pull back all of that information for us. So the socials, so LinkedIn, everything that we're going to need. And you can see right here, the memory shot up to 4 gigabytes. You can see it's currently crawling those pages. Looks like it's gotten 4 results already. Got help, advice. So far, nothing has been returned. And sometimes it won't return anything too, guys, right? Like you see here, it went through all these pages and on none of these pages do they have the email. So this will return just blank results, which is what we saw here. And that's just part of the process. Sometimes that's what happens. But you can see that it did execute 10 times, it did try its best to get that information for us. And then lastly, we have the personalized email writer. So what we would do here, right, is same thing. We would watch for responses. So go ahead, create a new webhook. We're going to copy that address to clipboard, head back into our lead generation. We're going to create a new automation. It's going to be called personalized email, and it's going to be the same setup that we had for the previous one. So when create personalized email is checked, we're going to run a script. That script is going to be this information right here, with the action being personalized email. We'll paste in the webhook, put in the record ID, the Airtable record ID is the variable, and we'll just test that action. So you'll run this once, head back in here, check your personalized email, and then we can come back, we can find that record in here. So choose record, choose one of the ones that you just checked, and then we're going to test the action and we'll get some data that populates back in here. And this is what it'll look like. Now we'll add the get a record module and we'll grab that record ID, and then same thing, run this once, head back in here, test this action again, and now we'll get the full record ID, like the website and everything else that we need in order to create it. Now after that's done, you're going to be making an HTTP request. So that is going to have the URL of the website that we're going to be searching that information on, right? So paste in the website right here. The method is going to be get, and the rest is just going to be blank. We can hit OK. And now sometimes this will return a certain request. So if it's not always a 200 request, meaning that it was a success and it failed, if we didn't have this ignore here, it would essentially just break this automation. So we're going to toss in an ignore. And so what that means is if there is an issue, just ignore this step altogether and proceed to complete this automation. That way it'll always remain active. And so add that, right? And then to do that, you would just right click, you'd go, show you on a different one, but you'd right click, you'd go add error handler, and then you'd put in ignore. All right, now we're gonna put in a router, and that router is just essentially saying like, for anything with a status code of 200, meaning that it was successful, complete the rest of these steps. Otherwise, if it's not successful, send it here and just let it die. So we're gonna set the label to status code 200. The condition is going to be status code from the HTTP request, and we're gonna equal that to 200. So now only the good request will be processed, and you can just leave this second route as blank. So anything that doesn't work will go down here. Now we're gonna add in this text parser HTML to text. So we're gonna be passing the data from the HTTP request. So what you could do is run this once so that you would be able to click and find data if you don't have it already. And then you would just test this action once again to get some data populated in there. So now this is going to take that HTML from this HTTP request. It's going to convert it to text. And then we're going to connect that to OpenAI ChatGPT. You can choose 4.0 as the system, set the role to user, and then we're going to say analyze this website and output the information in JSON format below. Focus on identifying key, unique details about the business and the owner, such as the year of experience, personal accomplishments, values, contributions that make them stand out. Look for elements that reflect the owner's personal involvement, passion, or achievements, right? In addition to the core business services. Ensure the customized email intro highlights these unique elements with a personal compliment, making the email feel genuinely thoughtful and relevant. If the founder's name is available, use it. Otherwise, default to hide there. The goal is to create an email that feels like it's written specifically for them, not generic. Avoid writing JSON or any other JSON delimiters in the output. And then this is the structure of the request that we want. So about, provide a detailed yet concise description of the business, so including years of service, etc. And then customize one-line email intro, so create a thoughtful 80-word email that starts with a personalized compliment, then introduce our voice agent services, and end with best regards. And then here's the website info, and we're going to paste that text from the previous step, and I just set the max tokens to 250. So that'll run, and then we're going to add in this parse JSON module, which is going to be the, if you click on choices, message, content, so it's going to share that message content. And then lastly, we're going to update that record back into Airtable. So pass the record ID from the first step right down here at the bottom. And then the personalized email is going to be the customized one-line email intro, and then the about is going to be the about. And so now you should save this, run once, right? And you head back into here. You can turn this on if you want. And now if we just go to one of these and we hit create personalized email, you'll see that this scenario was just triggered. Okay, guys, so I just got this error, and that's because the output, you can see it was cut off because of the limit that we put of 250 characters. So just come down here, put that at 0, and now it'll be able to work properly. So we'll save that, and we'll try running it once more. So you can turn this back on, delete old data, and we're also going to toss in another error handler here, and this is going to be ignore. So now it'll ignore if the JSON wasn't parsed properly, and we should be able to just check that again. And now you can see that it executed properly because we changed the limit. You can see based on the output bundle here that it parsed it properly, and then it updated our Airtable record. So now we know what the company does, what they're about, right? Look, they've been in the Kent area for over 20 years. And if we read the personalized email, hi there, I truly admire how Eden Park Veterinary Surgery has been a pillar of the community for over 2 decades, offering compassionate and expert care to pets across Kent. It's clear your dedication to creating a friendly and calming environment makes a real difference. I'd love to introduce you to our AI voice agent that can handle calls, schedule appointments, and answer FAQs, risk-free. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. Would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, that's incredibly powerful, right? I could literally write 10 personalized emails just by going like this right now. And in a second, all of these are going to populate, all with unique personalized emails. Power is incredible. That this one found the owner's name, right? Hi Rachel, I'm genuinely impressed by your long-standing commitment to providing exceptional vet care in the south of London and your involvement with multiple awards. It's truly commendable. So you can see right here. Okay, maybe we gotta refine the prompt a little bit, but Target Dial, we offer AI voice agents service that manages calls, scheduled appointments, and answers FAQs. And it did all of that in seconds, and it's pretty much free. You know? Like all you're paying for is the ChatGPT cost, and that's it. So it's insanely powerful. Yeah, and so that being said, I hope you got immense value out of this. I hope you use this. And if you are looking to get access to all of these automations, right, to just quick start plus a ton more, like we literally have newsletter creators, we have Twitter posts, we can like literally post to all social media platforms on autopilot. There's AI social media assistant, you have Instagram research assistant, YouTube research assistant, you know, and then we have also intermediate builds and even advanced builds that'll cover everything from content creation to lead generation. So if you did get value out of this, I would truly appreciate if you drop the subscribe. It's free, helps support the channel, and allows me to continue making videos like this. And with that said, I hope you have an incredible day, and I'll catch you on the next one.